In this video, we are showing you Heavy Metal Equipment's brand new 100,000 square foot facility here in Fort McKay Industrial Park, nicknamed Heavy Metal Garage. We're going to show you how this facility is spec'd and tooled to work on the largest haul trucks in Alberta, such as this 797B. So stay tuned to learn all about their brand new shop.
Founded in 2009 and headquartered in Spruce Grove, Alberta, Heavy Metal Equipment is the largest equipment rental company in the world. With thousands of pieces of equipment helping their customers move the earth on mine sites in Canada, the USA, and globally, Heavy Metal's fleet consists of hydraulic mining shovels, ultra-class haul trucks, motor graders, track-type tractors, and everything in between. With such a large fleet, the question is, where do you repair and rebuild it all? That's where Heavy Metal's new Fort McKay Service Center comes in, a 100,000 square foot, fully custom 12-bay facility built to repair the world's largest heavy equipment. Construction of this facility began back in November of 2023 with a groundbreaking ceremony. A brand new Cat 793 and Cat 797 were brought in to celebrate the milestone. Construction of this facility was done by Heavy Metal's very own infrastructure division, named Heavy Metal Infrastructure. In total, the build took 18 months to complete through some of Alberta's toughest winter weather conditions. The facility was officially opened in October of 2025.
Join us as we go inside Heavy Metal's massive new shop and the original Fort McKay shop adjacent to the new shop. Our first stop is the wash bay, to see how equipment is prepped before it can be serviced. Easiest way to tell you're in a Heavy Metal Equipment building is their trademark entranceway, which is a dump body complete with hoist cylinders. Because they have such a large rental fleet of haul trucks, it's very fitting that they have a dump body as an entranceway. What a grand entrance for a grand building. So we are in the wash bay here. This is one of the 12 bays in this shop. So as you can see, we only have a 789C in here, but this will fit up to and including 797s, whether it's a B or an F or whatever model. But this is where everything gets washed. So after it's come back from the mine, it's coming for whether it's a maintenance interval or a repair or a rebuild. It'll first come in here and get washed so that it's ready for the technicians to work on. So they have 13 of these super soaker nozzles, which can flow up to 200 gallons a minute. So we've got 3 on this side, 3 on that side. Then we have a second tier of 6 on both sides. And then we have a nozzle way at the top that'll wash the bed out. So 13 of these used to wash trucks like that and bigger. So basically like a car wash for your vehicle, but supersized.
Once the machine has been fully washed and prepped, it can be moved over into one of 6 service bays where technicians can begin to work on it.
So in the shop here, we've got different types of equipment. This is a 24 motor grader, the largest that Caterpillar makes. We've got 793D, 793C, 797B, 745 rock truck, which is probably the smallest thing here, and then a D10 completely stripped down, receiving a full rebuild. But the shop is capable of handling pretty much any piece of equipment. They have a 1-inch thick steel plate floor for track machines such as shovels or dozers, but the rest of it's concrete for rubber tire machines. But this 24 is in, they've split it at the hitch. They're doing some line boring on the actual hitch, and it's also getting a new transmission. The hitch will get worn out. It might get oblonged or might wear through the bearings or the shims. So they actually re-weld inside the bores and then go ahead and line bore that out to actually get it back to a true spec or within a true spec that'll accept the same size or similar bearings or bushings. It's pretty rare you see a 24 split in half like this. No better machine for cleaning up a big haul road than a 24 motor grader. Whole lot of moldboard down here. So each bay in this part of the shop has its own what's called a bay board. Eventually it's going to be all digital. Right now everything's in a paper workbook, so work orders, defect lists, in and out inspection sheets are all hosted in here. But when a technician comes to one of the bays to start their shift, or they're picking up on something that the night shift did or the day shift did, vice versa, all the information about what needs to be done on the truck or the dozer or the motor grader is hosted in here. So it's just a convenient way to organize all the work in the shop. This is the centralized lube system, so things like coolant, hydraulic oil, engine oil, that sort of thing have all been centralized. So this is piped all the way back to a room that hosts all the fluids in bulk, and then it can be distributed on the shop floor with these flow meters, and it can go right in the machine. So the same thing goes for waste fluids. There's a central collection hub, and then it's all recycled and taken away by an outside vendor. But this is just one way they made the shop more efficient, is having a centralized lube distribution system instead of having to carry around 5-gallon pails or drums or big bulk containers. They can just reel this out on a hose reel and take it to the machine, do what they need to do, and then it goes back just like this. Little spill tray there. So this is a manipulator built by B&D Manufacturing. This is for struts on 793s and 797s. So in order to take them off safely, you have a jig here in which you can mount up to the strut and you can take it off. There's also an attachment for rear hoist cylinders on dump bodies on the 797 and 793 trucks, but this thing runs off a little joystick pack, and it can move into position, come up, grab the strut off the truck. The hub goes here, and then the upper part of the strut sits there. Just from the fingertips, you can pick up a 793 or 797 strut, or with the other attachment, you can pick up the dump body dump cylinder on either side. That crane will actually reach in. They can strap onto the dump body cylinder or the box cylinder and take it out and remove it. So it's just a really easy way and safe way to handle these large components, because everything on big equipment is heavy. When a truck comes in for a rebuild or repair, when they're disassembling it, sometimes there's hoses that are still in good condition, still have lots of life left in them they can reuse. So they have bins in each bay. So as the truck is being disassembled, they can categorize what can be used and what can't be used. So for instance, that 793C is in for a rear axle housing. This 793C is in for some front struts and a bit of engine work. So as they take it apart, these massive hoses, which are absolutely huge, I mean, there's my forearm versus the hose, can be separated out, and they can determine what is reusable and what is pretty much needs to be replaced. So just another way that they keep the shop organized and they keep everything going in a systematic way in each bay. So this here is the Alex Gray Lounge. Heavy Metal dedicated the lunchroom here to Alex Gray. Alex Gray was a lead hand mechanic here at Heavy Metal Equipment in Fort McKay, and he sadly, on his time off, passed away. So in order to honor him and the kind and genuine person he was and how caring he was, they named the lunchroom after him. So this is Heavy Metal's existing shop in Fort McKay. This is a 5-bay shop. We have 4 bays here for working on tractors. We also have a wash bay for steaming and cleaning bitumen and oil sands off the tractors when they come in. And they have 4 bays for working on anything from D8, D9, D10, D11. You can see we've got a D6 in here. We've got D11s, but this was the shop where it all started in Fort McKay for them. And they've since outgrown it, and they're building the new shop just adjacent to this. But this shop will remain, and they'll still work on track type machines in here because of the steel floors. These are 1-inch thick steel floors. If you had concrete, when the tracks come in here, they destroy it. So they have steel in here, and that's why this is a Dozer shop. So what happens when a Dozer like this shows up at the shop? Well, they do what's called an in-sheet, which is a full inspection of the tractor to identify any components that may be needing repair or replacement outside of what's already been identified to come into the shop to be repaired. So a tractor will come in, pressures will be tested, such as steering pressures, brake pressures, hydraulics, engine, torque, transmission, visual inspection, and they complete what's called an in-sheet. Anything identified in such as defects will be sent to the planners. Then the planners will build a job scope or a work order, and then the work is completed. That's kind of how the process works here, and once the work is completed, they do what's called an out sheet. Someone will walk around and verify that all the work in the work order has been completed, and then in addition to that, they'll do a cold eyes inspection. So someone that hasn't worked on this particular tractor will come and do a complete walkthrough, a function test to make sure that nothing has been missed before it goes back out to the customer. And then the final thing is they'll do a steering and brake calibration so that the tractor is really finely tuned before it goes back out to the customer. You're not having really hard brake applications. The steering's nice and dialed so the tractor's ready to go.
This particular D11 was in for a 2,200-hour service where fluids like hydraulic, transmission, and final drive were changed, in addition to associated filters and screens. The machine also received a 600-hour service, which includes engine oil and air filters.
working with multiple shifts, multiple people, day shift, night shift, cross shifts, so they do a two-week rotation here. How do you kind of track progress on the shop floor? How do you communicate that to different people working on different machines? They use a color coding system. So if a hose or a component is identified as defective or parts have been ordered to replace it, they'll actually flag it with flagging tape. So we've got pink, which is welding defects. Orange is defective hoses. So if a hose has a abrasion or a rupture, it's been inspected, parts have been ordered if it's green. Blue is empty fluids. So if the engine has no oil in it, they can put a blue flag on it so people know that there's no engine oil. Yellow here is leaks. So what this does, this allows either supervision or someone who's working on a tractor and they might not have been working on it before to identify things easily and quickly and to be able to then take on that task to either repair it, replace it, fill fluids, or know that, say, parts have been ordered. So just a way that heavy metal tracks things on the shop floor using color coding, which I thought was quite unique. Mining in the oil sands is a very abrasive business. Undercarriage on big dozers really doesn't last long. You average about 2,000 hours, 2,500 hours at best before things are completely worn out. So when a dozer comes in here, sometimes they'll do a complete undercarriage swap, which is the track group, so rails and pads. They'll do sprockets, rollers, idlers, that sort of thing. So you get about that 2,000 hour mark roughly, sometimes a bit more, sometimes less, depending on the application. And then every so often you kind of get up in that higher hour range, like 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 hours. They'll actually do full repairs on the track frames. So Heavy Metal here tries to have a library of track frames available so that when a dozer comes in, they can hot swap these, get the old ones off, put a new set on that's ready to go, and the dozer's back out to work with the customer right away. The undercarriage is actually ITM, so Heavy Metal is the dealer for ITM up in this region. ITM was started back in 1957 post World War II in Italy in a place called Modena. And today they're one of the largest global suppliers of undercarriage. Heavy Metal outfits all their tractors with it, and they're also the dealer for it here in this region. So this is what's called a track frame rotisserie, similar to how you would put a chicken or something on a rotisserie to cook it, how it turns it and makes sure that equal heat is applied to the bird and it's cooked. That's the same principle here with track frames. So this is built by Raptor Mining Products out of Edmonton. So basically you can put a D8, D10, or D11, or even a D9 track frame on here. It'll grip it and you can work on all sides of the track frame. So you can weld on the top, you can gouge, you can rotate it, weld and gouge. So the track frame gets mounted in here and you can rotate it as they need. So there's no flipping things with cranes, no trying to manipulate something with a forklift. It's all locked in place and very safe in this track frame rotisserie, as they call it. So that's one of the things that Heavy Metal has at their shop now, is the ability to work on track frames in this kind of mounting system called the track frame rotisserie. So we're here in the welding section of the shop. There are 4 bays here for welding haul truck bodies, hydraulic mining shovel buckets. Each bay has its own 50-ton crane so that they can lift things like 793 boxes, 797 boxes, hydraulic mining shovel buckets. But basically, anything they have to weld on heavy equipment gets done here. So for instance, they've got some 793 beds, which are doing some repairs and liners on. They've got some hydraulic mining shovel buckets, which are doing repairs on, re-outfitting them with GET and different lips. and send them back out to the customer. But this is where all the welding in the shop happens. Is, as you can see, 793 tray or box in here. Doesn't even make a dent in the shop because the shop is so huge. It looks rather small, but each bay is outfitted with multiple welders. And there's a huge crew and team here that work to weld and fabricate pretty much anything heavy metal needs. So 4 bays dedicated just to welding in the new shop. Pretty incredible. Pretty big for a light duty bay. We've got the 2 4-post lifts. We've got room for work on trucks over here. We've got 5 trucks in here right now. 2 service trucks, fuel and lube truck, pickup truck, crew van with room for more. So as you can see, the light duty bay is just as grand as the shop itself. So this is a parts freezer. And no, it's not like your conventional deep freeze for storing food. This is for storing parts. And how cold does it get? Well, it's currently at -81. So the purpose of putting parts in a freezer is so that they can shrink them and so that they'll meet the tight tolerances and fits. So things like bushings, sleeves, anything like that that has a very tight tolerance, they'll put in here so it actually shrinks, and then they can slide it into its place on the machine, and then it'll expand to fit the actual part. So
should have been 2 skids. Where's the second one? You want to do this, Dylan? Yep.
So we're inside the warehouse here in Heavy Metal Shop. As you can see, the racks are about 40 feet tall. They have over 650 different pallet locations, so they can have a lot of inventory of consumables, parts for repairs or rebuilds. Everything gets received here, gets cataloged, inventoried, so that when the technicians on the floor need something as simple as brake clean, it'll come here, they can come and access it, and it just helps the shop floor be more efficient. Below us here is the tool crib. So again, if a technician needs something that they need to sign out for a particular job, they can come and get that, and then everything pretty much stays here and lives here. So everything. Thank you for watching today's video. Hope you enjoyed, hope you learned something about heavy metal equipment here in Northern Alberta. If you're interested to learn more, the website link is below. Also, if you're interested in a career at heavy metal, they're always looking for people to join the team. People such as welders, planners, heavy equipment mechanics, technicians, laborers. They're always looking for people to help grow their business. So check out the link below to their careers page. Thank you again. Hope you enjoyed our adventure up here in Fort McKay Industrial Park, and see you on the next one.